This is Jerningam here. This is happening in the UK. The police, there's a dam broken in the UK in Whaley. If you guys have ever been to Whaley or live in the Whaley area in the UK, it's like a little town. And just a minute, people are very worried about it. And basically, what it says, Whaley Bridge, 55 more homes evacuated as the race continues to repair the dam. So basically, a bridge is broken at Whaley, the Old Victorian Bridge in the UK, and a lot of emergency services are worrying that there's going to be another thunderstorm tomorrow, so it'll probably damage the bridge and knocking on people's doors and that. I'm going to play the video.
Whaley Bridge tonight, fears about what tomorrow's weather might bring spurred the emergency services into action again. Another 55 houses receiving a knock at the door, residents being told to leave, packing bags and their cars with enough to last them several days.
Up until this point, we were okay. Both our sons were in separate places and have both rung us to say, you need to get out.
Do you expect that you're going to be asked to leave?
Well, it's looking imminent. Yeah.
And you've got a bag packed?
It's there, yeah, ready to go, boarded up, done it now.
And where will you go?
I've got friends in Raynollow, which is towards Macclesfield.
All day, people watched as efforts to save this town reached a critical point. A last chance to fix the dam while the sun shines before more rain lands tomorrow. While the military strengthened the dam, the priority has been to reduce the weight of the water. Huge pumps have been brought in, shipping thousands of gallons downstream.
We have got a forecast tomorrow of significant rainfall, and we are seriously concerned about that because this catchment area, this reservoir could fill quite quickly, but we are doing everything we possibly can to draw it down.
Even yesterday, I wouldn't have been able to stand where I am now. By the middle of the day today, they've managed to reduce the level of the water by about 1.5 meters, but they need to achieve 8 meters to get it down below the level of damage to the dam. This afternoon, the Environment Secretary visited the scene to assess the damage and ask for people's patience while the work continues.
Sadly, I wish I could come on here and say that there's a time estimate for when people can go back to their homes, but I've been impressed to hear about the progress which has been made, and of course, you know, much may depend on whether the rainstorm that's predicted does arrive.
This operation will continue throughout another worrying night here, and with a weather warning in place for thunderstorms, more people will spend it away from home. The ghost town at the centre of Whaley Bridge has got bigger tonight. It is a measure of how seriously the authorities are taking the weather forecast for tomorrow and how perilous the state of that dam remains. One woman leaving here tonight summed up the mood when she said simply that she's scared.
Well, nobody wants to get flooded in their own homes, do they? And the emergency services are like basically knocking on people's doors in the UK and Whaley to tell them to evacuate because they're worried about their safety. There was a shooting. A shooting witnessed a kid running into a store, warned a shooter in America.
I want to bring in a witness of the shooting on the phone right now. Specialist Lyndon Oakley is joining us. I understand, a specialist, that you were in the Cielo Vista Mall at a sporting goods store. Take us through exactly what happened, what you saw. But before you do so, how are you doing?
I'm fine right now. Just a little shaken up. I'm still here at the moment.
Are you still at the mall?
Yeah, I am.
So tell us what you saw and heard.
Well, I was in a store. I think it's called Annalis or something. It's a sports store. I was buying a jersey, and the little kid ran in there and was telling us it's
the American Army of going into the shooters, I think.
Little kids, and then for 2 years at the mall and at a Walmart, I didn't know that. So we just didn't pay no mind. So I walked to Foot Locker, and I just heard 2 gunshots, and a whole bunch of people started running around screaming. So they shut the cage of in Foot Locker, and I have my license to carry, and I'm in the military, so when I hear gunshots, we're trained to, think fast and grab your weapon, think fast and save, take cover, do anything you can. So a couple guys, they just ran out of Foot Locker, and I'm thinking, I'm the only one with a weapon, and that's legally carrying. So I go with them because I can guard them or whatever. But I see a whole bunch of kids just running around without their parents. So I put it up, and the only thing I think of is just pick up as many kids as I can as possible. And there was another guy doing it as well. I don't know where he went to, but there was another Hispanic guy with me. He did as well, and it was just, I could say maybe a total of like 13 kids running around, but I can only get 3. And I think he got about 3 as well. Cause I was just focused on the kids. I wasn't really worried about myself. I was, I put my head down and just ran as fast as I could. And once I seen a whole bunch of cops, I dropped and I told them to go. So I pulled out my phone in case they were going to shoot me. So I pulled out my phone and started recording while I was running. They were just telling me hands up, and I just, I made it out safe. But I wasn't too worried about myself. I was just trying to get those kids out of there because, I was just, it was just so many kids just running around. And I was just thinking about if I had a child, and if I wasn't around, how I would want another man to react to see my child running around. So I just stopped fast and got as many kids as I could as possible and just made it up.
Specialist Oakley, how long did this incident occur from the time that these young kids came in to that store and told you that there's a shooter until now, basically? How long was the active shooting going on as far as you could tell?
Well, while I was in there buying a jersey, came in there, and then 2 minutes probably about went by, so I could find my card and stuff, and I walked out, and I walked down to Foot Locker. So I'll say, from me making it, from the kids telling me to me hearing gunshots, it was about maybe like a quick 5 to 7 minutes.
What were the folks saying to you, Specialist Oakley, as you were walking around? Were you walking around in military uniform or just in the civilian clothes?
No, I was just in civilian clothes. Like, nobody was really, because the kid was just running around saying it was an active shooter. I don't know how he found out, but the people around the bar weren't really paying him no attention, until gunshots popped off, and then a whole bunch of mob cops running around with their M4s and stuff, just running around. That's when people, started to run around screaming.
Did you actually hear any gunshots?
Yeah.
You did?
2.
You heard 2 gunshots?
Me and the guy that I don't know who the other guy was, but we just ended up being right next to each other the whole time, but he heard it as well.
So what did you do? What did you do? I know you're a military. You're in the U.S. Army. You're a specialist. But what did you do when you heard those gunshots?
Honestly, anybody in the military can tell you, like, it's something you can't explain. Like, I don't even remember. Like, I just remember, just trying to get those kids out, because we're trained to pull your gun out and take cover or save or shoot whoever's in front of you. That's the enemy. You know what I'm saying? So that's something I can't explain. You just have to be in the military to really understand what I was going through to that time.
So your objective, your goal, your immediate goal, was to help save these kids, as opposed to running toward the incident where the shooting was going on, even though you were armed.
Right, because when I was in Foot Locker, at first I would think for myself, just hide, but when they shut the cages, you can see through the cage, and all you see is a whole bunch of kids. So I just thought about getting the kids out the way, man. Anything could happen. The stray bullets could fly by, and I was just worried about kids. Once I seen kids, I wasn't too worried about myself.
And so you helped the kids. How were the kids doing?
They were anxious and just jump. Like, when they were in my arms, they were trying to jump out of my arms, but I'm trying to keep them as tight as possible. Like, they're kids, they don't really understand what's going on. And then at that, I think they were just scared. They weren't by their parents or nothing.
As far as you can tell, you're still at the Cielo Vista Mall right now, Specialist. Is it over? Are people letting you walk around, or are they forcing you to stay put?
At first they were forcing me to stay put, but like I came out on the other side of the mall, so I was just walking to my car. So
there's a lot of madness in the world and a lot of violence and shootings, and some people are probably sick and tired of hearing about killings and shootings on the news, but it is what it is in the world. The world could be a horrible place sometimes, guys.
Specialist Oakley, is there anything you want to share, anything else you want to share with our viewers here in the United States and around the world?
I just hope those kids are safe, man, and to the parents that if you're looking for your child, I hope I was able to get your child out there as quick as possible. And I just pray that all the kids and just the bystanders that were in the mall and that want made it out safely. And it's really like I wasn't expecting this to happen. It was just, I was on a normal day paying bills the first of the month. I was just minding my business. This is something that just it shocked me. I wasn't expecting this.
Yeah, nobody was expecting this, but unfortunately, it happens way too often. And Specialist Glendon Oakley, thanks, first of all, for your service to the United States. You're in the U.S. Army. Thanks for what you did today, helping those kids in the face of this mass shooting. We'll stay in close touch with you. Thank you so much for joining us.
All right, roger that.
Well, some more news about that. El Paso. Let's see. Go to the next one.
This is an ABC News special report. Now reporting, Tom Yamas.
And good afternoon. We interrupt regular programming to bring you breaking news out of Texas, and it is horrific news. ABC News learning at least 18 people have died and dozens injured in that mass shooting at a shopping complex in El Paso. This according to law enforcement officials. This is now one of the top 10 deadliest mass shootings in U.S. history. Shoppers at the Cielo Vista Mall and Walmart running for their lives as those gunshots rang out. Officials confirming at least one person is in custody. I spoke to an eyewitness moments ago who tells me she saw the gunman walk into the Walmart, start firing at people in the parking lot. The gunman, who apparently was wearing camouflage cargo shorts and some type of ear protection, calmly shot people in cold blood, and then, according to this eyewitness, walked into the Walmart and kept on firing. There was chaos, as you can imagine, people running out for their lives, people trying to drive out of the Walmart parking lot. It is a Saturday. It is summertime in El Paso, and this Walmart was incredibly popular, not only with American shoppers and local shoppers, but apparently with Mexican shoppers as well that would cross the border and go into Walmart to shop. I want to bring in Pierre Thomas right now, who's been following all the latest developments for us. And Pierre, what are your sources at the federal level telling you?
Well, we've been in communication, I and multiple correspondents at ABC News, and they're painting a pretty horrific scene. It's a situation where multiple fatalities, nightmare scenario, as described to us. Suspect, as you said, just calmly killing people, according to these sources. FBI, ATF are assisting local law enforcement as they try to get a handle on the crime scene. There's a lot of work to be done. They are pretty certain it's one shooter after reports of multiple shooters, but there's still additional work that they do in these cases to talk to additional witnesses to make sure that there's nothing else out there potentially dangerous.
All right, Pierre Thomas reporting for us this afternoon. Pierre, thank you. Pierre, we'll have much more on World News Tonight for us. And just a quick update now, the El Paso Police Department has sent out an urgent tweet to people in the area asking for blood donations. That is how bad things are right now in El Paso. We will have, of course, a full wrap-up on abcnews.com, and we'll have much more tonight on World News. I'm Tom Yamas in New York. Thank you for watching.
This has been a special report from ABC News.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.
It annoys you sometimes in the world we live in, and people wonder why people get annoyed with people, and people do silly things to affect other people in the world and stuff. It's very silly, is what it is. This has all been over the news of this shooting at a shopping mall in America. A lot of people are probably upset at what's gone on.
Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, who joins us now. Thank you so much, Mr. Paxton, for joining us. What more can you tell us?
Well, I mean, obviously we're gathering information. Local PD is involved in interviewing the shooter right now. And so there's a lot of information you can gather that we don't know. The public's not going to know. I'm not even going to know yet because I'm not in the room. But that's obviously a critical interview. And
police and multiple deaths in El Paso. TX shooting, Texas shooting, on the phone.
Was there any intel? Did
Paxton,
police know that
Texas.
something like this could be coming?
So far, I don't think so. That's obviously something that they're going to know more
So
about.
they've had to call the army and the police as well, just to be on the safe side in the USA.
It's a valuable piece of information to be able to interview the shooter. It's just something we just don't have that opportunity.
Of course. And can you confirm any fatalities?
The number is moving, and so I don't want to say a number because that number could change at any moment. Obviously, there are people in the hospital that are being treated, and so it's hard to pin down a number because we don't know the status of every person.
At this hour, sir, how many would you say are dead?
I don't want to say because the number is literally kept changing. I know it's between probably 15 and 20, but that number, like I said, can change in a minute.
Between 15 or 20 people dead.
That is my understanding.
This isn't the first shooting like this that's happened in the state of Texas, Mr. Paxton. You're the Attorney General. Does the state need gun control?
You know, I wish that gun control, if I thought it would work, I don't think that's something that would actually work because people that are doing this are not going to obey gun laws. This guy just violated every law in the book. He went in and killed a bunch of people. Having a gun law, I don't think would have prevented him from violating another law. So in most cases, it's better if law-abiding citizens have the opportunity.
CBN News, you guys can see there. If you guys are from America as well, and you want to know what's going on in your own area of shooting.
With a weapon by law enforcement. So that work you might consider, but I doubt that would be a solution to somebody pulling children.
30,000 Americans have lost their lives in the past year alone over gun violence. How do we decrease that number?
I think we have to educate people as to how to protect themselves. For instance, in schools, protecting our schools is something Texas is trying to do. And I think that I actually think it's a good idea for people to be aware and also be able to.
CBN News, guys, if you want to know what this news channel is.
Law enforcement can't be there in time. So if people have the ability to defend themselves, then there's less likelihood of a large number of people being killed.
If it is determined that this was somehow a particular group of people who were targeted, or race, or ethnicity, what would you say needs to be done to protect those people?
Well, I mean, that's horrible. That any kind of shooting is horrible for whatever crazy reason this guy had. There's really no good reason for the gunning down of innocent people.
But how do you protect those people, Attorney General?
Just the way I said, I think you have to have a state in cases like schools, finding ways to provide more safety, whether that's through a law enforcement person at school.
Too many crazy people with guns, drugs, and weapons, thinking it's okay to just go around stabbing and shooting people. It's not okay. It's bad.
Ready to defend themselves, and if not defend themselves, find a way to.
But we have that thing in our minds. We have to protect ourselves by idiots.
In the state of Texas, if you have Texas citizens who just don't feel safe because they may feel that they're targeted, what's your advice to them today?
Again, I think it's being ready to defend yourself. I mean, we have laws in the state that allow people to carry, and if there's a crazy shooter like this who is willing to gun down people, there's no way that law enforcement can be everywhere at every moment to protect everybody. But the best way is to be prepared to defend yourself.
And as far as it comes to mental health, what needs to be done to provide more mental health to folks around this country?
Well, I think we definitely need to put more resources into that, both at the state level and the federal level. That's clear that is a problem, not just with shootings, but in all kinds of areas of our lives. I think it's about funding, and it's about figuring out the best way to treat people that have these issues.
And right now, I want to know, what is your biggest concern? As you know, police say this area has been secured, that they believe it is in control, that there's no imminent threat right now. What is your biggest concern for the state of Texas right now?
I can tell you my biggest concern is for the families, and that's why I have a person already down there. We have a crime victims assistance fund that will help these people with, counseling, with medical issues, with lodging. And so I already have somebody down there. I'll have somebody else down there tomorrow. And we're going to be available to help these people in the best way that we can after such a horrible tragedy.
when the shooting began, shortly after, a gentleman called in, an eyewitness, who said he witnessed an elderly woman being dragged out because she was unresponsive, and a person accompanying them wanted to get her help. There is word that a 4-month-old baby could potentially be among the injured. What do you say when you hear about situations like this and the injured who were just in the wrong place at the wrong time?
Look, it breaks my heart because obviously we all would be devastated if we had family members that were.
Yeah, but these shootings and killings keep happening. People keep getting stabbed for no reason. There's too many nutters in the world. That's all they can seem to say to people. It's devastating. Oh, it's so terrible.
I want to thank you very much, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, for joining us.
Thanks for having me on, and just keep us in your prayers.
We certainly will. We certainly will. Thank you very much, Mr. Paxton.
It is ridiculous, man. In my opinion, that is very annoying. I mean, there's a lot of news channels that have talked about the gun shooting, and there's something about Hong Kong protests, crash police again.
It was a highly symbolic act missed by most television cameras here today, but it won't be lost on Beijing.
ITV News, guys, if you're from the UK.
The Chinese flag. And this was not just any work. It happened at the
Hong Kong wants its own independence from the country back in. That's why they're kicking off and throwing stuff.
On the mainland side of the territory of Hong Kong. The protesters then tossed the flag into Victoria Harbour. Beijing will regard this as a provocative insult to the one country side of Hong Kong's schizophrenic status.
Throwing the Chinese flag into the water in Hong Kong.
Protesters marked this, the 9th weekend of rallies in a row, by taking over Kowloon's equivalent of Oxford Street. These demonstrators and the powers that be may still be deadlocked, but there's no sign of fatigue on this, the pro-democracy side, and they know that what they are doing has the approval of most of their fellow Hong Kongers.
One of the reasons that this crisis has gone on for so long is the complete absence of dialogue between the two sides. And until the Hong Kong government makes some concessions, these people will continue to turn out on the streets. These demonstrators are doing their talking with their feet.
This movement is being sustained by the passions aroused by the belief that they are fighting to preserve their way of life.
I live in Hong Kong. This is my home, and I want to protect it. And I'm not sure if my sister is going to have kids, and I want them to have a good life to live. I want them to have a good place.
Later, clashes again erupted with the
police in Hong Kong.
Somehow this has become the new normal in what just a couple of months ago was one of the most reliably stable cities on earth. It has been another disruptive day in the territory, but demonstrators will argue their actions are necessary as once again tens of thousands of them gave up their free time to defend their freedom. John Irvine, ITV News, Hong Kong.
Well, ITV News, like, comment, subscribe, Twitter, Facebook, and share. That's what one would say to me. A lot of crazy things that are going on in the world. Donald Trump in America talking about California's homelessness problems.
Well, President Trump blamed Democrats for crime and homelessness in some of the nation's largest cities at a rally in Ohio Thursday night. He specifically went after California and what he calls horrible conditions there.
Nearly half of all the homeless people living in the streets in America happen to live in the state of California. What they are doing to our beautiful California is a disgrace to our country.
San Francisco living in comments of the area. Donald Trump there, see?
With the tents and the horrible, disgusting conditions. The conditions in Nancy Pelosi's
CBN News.
once great city of San Francisco are deplorable. They're deplorable.
Some very pointed remarks by the president there. Melissa Kane joins us now. She's a political reporter at our San Francisco station, KPIX. Now, Melissa, we heard the president attack the state of California for its homeless population, but break this down for us. How severe of a problem is it in the state, and were the president's remarks accurate?
Well, it's going to upset a number of Californians to hear this, but the president was being accurate, at least based on the most recent data we have. According to a 2018 study by the Department of Housing and Urban Development, 47% of what we call the unsheltered, that's homeless people who live on the street. They're not sheltered or living in temporary housing. Those unsheltered people, 47% do live in California, although to be clear, overall, California only has about 24% of the nation's overall homeless population.
Now, why is it such a disproportionately high population in California? Does it have anything to do with housing costs, for instance?
Well, you're very, very close. Earlier today, I talked with the director of San Francisco's Department on Homelessness, and he's very steeped in all this, and he said there were two factors. First, at the federal level, since 1978, HUD funding has been cut by about 50%, but that's nationwide. What's unique about California is how difficult it is to build here. Between zoning laws and appeals and environmental reviews, it's just incredibly difficult to put up shelters, to put up affordable housing, or to put up any housing. And so what we have is a state that's been unable to really deal with that cut in federal funding.
Now, according to the Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority, there's been a 16% increase in the homeless population for 2019. How is the state combating this issue?
Well, they're throwing every resource possible at this. And of course, our current governor is a former mayor of San Francisco. So he's both familiar with the issue of homelessness and the issue of difficulty building things. And so he is absolutely on top of it. He's employing what you might call a carrot and stick approach.
California is to combat growing homelessness problems. We have homeless problems in the UK as well, guys. It's every world, I think.
He may withhold this money, and
there's homeless people and things.
Laws that don't increase the height density, for example, that they're going to permit in various parts, are going to be missing out on millions and millions of dollars in state funding. So the hope is that the combination of those two things will result in some more housing being built and shelters being built in California.
Now, hopefully that gets more homeless people off the streets and in housing. Certainly an issue that's not going to go away anytime soon. Melissa Kane, thank you so much.
The whole world seems to be a mess, guys. Just thinking what else I could show in, unless I might leave it for this video. Right, so I think I've shown what I'd like to have shown in this video, guys. Thank you for joining me. Please let's see, before I end it, there's maybe one more video I may have to show of Boris Johnson.
Well, it's looking dodgy but stable is how I would describe it. I mean, they've done an amazing job. As you can tell, the Chinooks have brought in about 400 bags of stone, huge quantities of aggregate that have gone into that hole, and you still can't really tell that the hole has been filled. So there's a major structural problem with the dam. What needs to happen now is that the water all needs to come out. There needs to be a proper repair, rebuild of that dam. And that's obviously what we're going to do. I thought it was very important to come up and see for myself the seriousness of the situation here in Whaley Bridge. It is that there is still a substantial risk, and that's why I really wanted to congratulate the emergency services, because this is a major problem. If that dam goes, you know the potential destruction that can wreak on the whole of the village below, on livelihoods, on families.
I mean, if you're in the UK and you're in this area, you're going to see the dam collapse and you have to be evacuated by the police and the ambulance and the health department and the army.
That will mean a major rebuild, clearly.
Well, guys, like I say, thank you for joining me in this video, and I'll do another one like this later. Please like, comment, subscribe, share these videos with your friends, and I'll catch you in the next one. Sorry I'm rushing things, but I'm trying to get my words out in edgeways. Take it easy, and yeah. See you next one. Peace.